This was for anyone who gets nervous on the phone and wants to close their first real estate wholesale deal, which is a strategy where you find a rundown house, you get it under contract, and you make a finder's fee for then giving it to an investor who will close on it with cash. We are actually going to listen to a call from a person who was selling a rundown house. They responded to a postcard that my team sent, and then ultimately my team member is going to work through. You'll hear what they say. I ended up making $130,000 on this deal. Ryan Haywood has completed 425 real estate wholesale deals in St. Joseph, Missouri since 2019 when he quit his job. So he's going to comment on this too as my co-host. And I've created a process that's helped people close 10,000 deals in all 50 states with the software platform called DealMachine. And my name is David Lecco. And here's the phone call that came in about 6 months ago that led me to make $130,000. Hey guys, welcome to the DealMachine podcast, where we help you quit your job and replace your income and 10x your income, frankly, through a business model that Ryan's been doing since 2019 when he quit his job. Say hey, Ryan.
What's up?
Yeah. So you actually did a wholesaling challenge where you found a rundown house, passed it to an investor, made $8,500. Why did you do that?
The intent and the target was to find a way to replace my 9-to-5 income.
Yeah.
And when we saw this 30-day wholesaling challenge, it was something that honestly Megan found the interest in and thought, hey, you could do this. And so I gave it a try. And 14 days later, I closed my first deal and I scored an $8,500 assignment check.
That's got to feel amazing, right? Especially since you had already quit your job, which is not what we recommend, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And that brings us to me. I'm actually David Lecco. I created a process that's helped people like Ryan close 10,000 deals in all 50 states through the software platform DealMachine. And today we're going to talk about a phone call that is exactly what my team said to close a deal that I made $130,000. So without further ado, this one's going to be for those of you who want to get on the phone and actually talk to sellers and start trying to find it. You could find a deal that you could make money from wholesaling as well, passing it off to an investor. So, Ryan, I'm going to start playing this so we can comment throughout. Sound good?
Let's do it.
Thank you for calling What No Properties. This is Becky. Oh, but good on in first time, and how are you doing? I am good, and yourself? I'm doing well. Hey, I got one of your cold call postcards, and that you guys sent out, and so I am interested in getting property on the move. So if you guys are interested, I'd love to see what you guys are willing to offer. If this postcard will actually work for you.
And what is the address of the property?
It's going to be 6490 Orchard.
And that's an Indianapolis?
Correct.
All right. And is this a rental property or just a property?
So right there, I liked how she answered the phone so far.
Yeah.
And you could tell immediately, like, Russ was very happy to be talking on the phone. You know, He wasn't like mad. He wasn't like, well, you mailed me, you should know my address.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, well, tell me what your offer is, right off the front, like real aggressive like that. I've gotten those calls in all those scenarios. They end up being tire kickers. So I just try to get off the phone as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But every deal I've done, and I'm sure I've missed out on some deals because I didn't entertain those like annoying type of calls, but every deal that I've done, the person is like so easy to work with.
Yeah, you can tell the interest level pretty quickly. Are they actually, motivation for sure. Are they actually interested in an offer? Are they motivated to sell, or are they just calling to give you grief over mail that they got that they don't want to get anymore? So, yeah, I also like getting the address right up front is also important because that gives you the ability, or the agent the ability, to pull up that specific address on the DealMachine app so that then they have statistics about the property. So that's another good key takeaway. Get the address up at the front.
Agreed. Here, let's continue on.
But the property I had for a little while, the guy that I was supposed to be kind of doing it with, he hasn't got in and really finished it. It's kind of cleaned out on the inside. It would just probably need to be finished on the inside. And so, looking to just kind of move on from it.
Okay, so explain needs to be finished on the inside. What kind of stuff needs to be done?
Honestly, I don't know. I got a few pictures, but I'm pretty sure that it's been for rehab. It's been kind of demoed, and then needs to be put back together. So I don't know. Oh, I haven't been out there recently. My brother had been, who's in with some properties on me, and had a few pictures. But I'm pretty sure it needs new carpet, and have the bathrooms and the kitchen put back together. I am more than happy to get away to get somebody in there to then take a look and see what they estimate. I can't give you an honest answer on everything that scope of work that needs to be finished, so to speak, and I don't want to give empty promises based on what I think done versus what actually is done, if that makes sense.
One thing I noticed, he's not overselling anything, which is a good sign.
Andy knows what he's talking about. Using terminology like scope of work, this tells me that he knows a little bit about what you guys are doing and what he's doing. It sounds like an investor type of conversation.
I don't really know if that's critical. I've done a lot of deals with people who did.
No, not at all.
But yeah, it is an interesting point. And as he said, like he was out of state. He had a contractor that was supposed to help him out with the property, but he never made much progress past the demo phase. So what does that happen? Happens a lot.
From my perspective, if you don't vet and this is totally off, it doesn't matter for wholesaling per se, but a lot of investors, if they don't vet their contractors well, contractors will get in, they get an initial payment, they go in and do a few things, and then they bounce. So it's like, from my perspective as an investor, and even your perspective as an investor, we want to make sure that we have a good relationship with whoever's working on our property, so that we don't get in a situation like this where we are then wanting to sell because we've got a property that got demoed and then the guy never showed back up, and maybe you don't have another connection to get it done. So that puts the stress point on this investor, because he may not be, obviously he's not local, and he doesn't have another person to help him get this property fixed up. So now it has become a pain point for him, and he needs to sell.
Let's continue.
Trying to be totally open and transparent on it there.
I appreciate that. So what I'm putting for Mr. Lecco is that you think that it needs the flooring put in and the kitchen and bathroom put back together, but you're not completely sure because you haven't physically been there.
Yes. Yep. And then I've learned to not exactly believe everything the guy that's supposed to be working there, it should have been done by now.
Yeah. Okay, and does it have a basement or a garage or a fenced yard or any of those?
No, it does not have a basement. It does have a garage. Sorry.
Yeah, so those questions were kind of interesting to me. I don't think I lost my spot. Those questions were kind of interesting for me because at this point, the goal of the call is to set up an appointment, go meet the guy, see what he'd take. And it could be nice to know if it has a basement or a garage, but I know I can just look that up in DealMachine and figure that out. So if I were making this call myself, I'd probably opt out of asking that info, because at the end of the day, I was asking myself, what do I even do with that info? And yeah, it matters on the comps, but I know I'm going to look that up anyway. So, I don't know. I guess it's just lower priority, good to verify, right? If I'm not going to go to the property, but he hasn't been to the property either. So, not like critical to remember to ask those questions, in my opinion, at this stage. And I don't know about you, but like, I want to, like the whole goal is to like be curious, learn about the person in general, build rapport more than it is to like collect that information about basements and garages. But maybe that was the goal of the caller, was to just build rapport through asking questions. I don't know.
So how long, first off, how long of a phone call is this?
We're a little over halfway through. It's about a 7-minute call.
Okay. One thing that I always push our people is to get an appointment as quick as you can. And then you can follow up asking questions to fill in some gaps on the appointment. To me, the fact that, like, this is a perfect example. Like, this guy he's not calling you to tell you to quit sending him mail. He's not calling to pretend, 400,000, bring me a check. He's actually interested in selling. So to me, the next thing is get an appointment so that we can get in there and take a look at this house. That's just, my thing is get as quick to that point as, hey, when would be a good time?
That's what I was saying too.
Yeah.
Like I would have definitely just gone for the most important thing.
Hey guys, if you know you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast, because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
Yep. Let's hear what she says next.
I don't know. You guys have pictures. You sent me the card. You know that. You guys should know that.
And do you have an idea what you'd like to get for the property?
Yeah, I'd like to get about 180 to 190 in there.
Okay. And do you owe anything on it? Taxes, land, mortgages?
I don't. There's probably some taxes that are owed, but I've got to figure out that exactly, because I don't think the guy paid him. No supposed to pay him. But then, there is a mortgage on it, and that's what I'm basically just trying to get rid of the plus finance to be done with it.
Okay. And do you know if it has like an HVAC system?
Yeah, I don't think she needs to ask about the HVAC system. That is irrelevant. But
yeah, I mean, that's all details that you can grab when you're on the appointment. And even your TC will find out your TC, if you have it.
Neither do the people list.
Gotcha.
What does your TC do?
Yeah, so the transaction coordinator is going to be the one that's going to be gathering does this have a mortgage on it? For me, this person's doing a great job. Your cold caller's doing a great job.
Yeah. Obviously,
something I would want to see is just get me in there as quick as you can get me in there. That way I can make an assessment, with my eyes on, okay, the HVAC is old, the roof is old.
Yeah.
Get this guy off the phone as quick as you can.
Honestly, I think that the cold caller missed an opportunity to show empathy. Wow, you were actually partnered with somebody who was supposed to pay the taxes, and they bailed you and they haven't paid the taxes. I'm so sorry that your experience, like, you got through that, man. That is terrible.
What does creating empathy do in the transaction?
Is this a trick question?
No.
Okay.
It's a good thing for the listeners to hear why this is a good point.
So I hear people say, well, I had a higher offer, but I went with you because I really liked you. People have said that to me, and people have said that in the DealMachine Facebook group. And so that makes me think empathy makes the other person feel comfortable. It makes them feel understood. And I think they'd rather do a deal with somebody who shows empathy than somebody who can offer the highest price. That's based on my experience and knowledge.
Typically what's going to happen if they go with the highest offer, there's a good probability that highest offer is not going to be able to close.
Yeah.
And they're going to come back. Okay. The reason they're going to come back to you is because you created a sense of understanding. You had empathy with them. You created a relationship, and they're going to think, I'm going to call Leco Properties back because they just seemed like real, genuine people. And we get that too, being boots on the ground in our market. We have an upper hand because people are calling and scheduling appointments, and then I'll show up at the appointment and they'll be like, oh, you're the guy on the postcard. It's like, yeah. And I live here. This is the hometown. And so that creates that's something, it's underrated, I think, because so many people do wholesale deals across the country, which is great. Not a model that I've had any success with, because I feel like me being there in person and creating that relationship and establishing that relationship in person gives me an upper hand on everyone. The minute that I show up and they're like, oh, you're the guy on the postcard, and then I start asking questions and they start realizing, oh yeah, we know some similar people in town and I grew up here, that creates something more reliable than what any other guy is going to bring to the table. Like, hey guy, how much do you want? Well, I want 130. Okay, we'll give you 130. You might take it, but you're probably going to call me back and you're probably going to tell me they offered me this and then we never heard from him again.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this is he wanted 180 because that's what he owed. He bought it. I saw from the records he bought it for $200,000. So he's even willing to take a loss on this just to cover what he owed. Yep. But when I ran the comps, I couldn't pay more than 160. So he brought $20,000 to pay off that portion of his loan that I didn't cover, and he paid his back taxes. Crazy, actually.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. So here, check this out. The rest of the call.
Yeah, we're not.
But yeah, I believe that it's a nice older home.
It did have an HVAC, but I had to replace it, so it was irrelevant to ask if it had one or not.
Sure.
The whole house.
And how often are you open? Love it.
That's a good question.
Yesterday,
More.
Still as possible, to be honest. As soon as possible.
Speed and convenience.
This is Leco likes to do virtual conversations. That way he can talk to you and you can see his face and be face to face. Let's see what we can set up for you.
I didn't get what she was saying there. She said David likes to do virtual conversations so he can talk to you and see you face to face. That's not a virtual. I don't know. I talked to him on the phone. I didn't see him face to face. That was interesting.
Maybe like a FaceTime.
Well, I guess what it shows is like, if you mess up what you say, it really doesn't matter. If you have good intent and you are curious, you remain listening to the person, and that's really all. So like, hopefully that helps people listening take the edge off if they're feeling nervous about you to call like this.
Yes.
Because that didn't make sense.
I could do either tomorrow, the 8th, or Monday, the 11th.
Okay, here's another thing that I love. You're not asking them, hey, when's a good time for me to come and look? You're telling them the option. That is something that everyone that's doing cold calling needs to make sure you are doing. Don't ask. Yes, absolutely. And honestly, if the intent is to get an appointment, the intent is to go and look at a house, you don't want to just be like, hey, when is a good time for you? They might say next week or 2 weeks from now, allowing time for other people to come in and make offers on this property. Hey, is tomorrow or is today, do you have availability today to look at the house? Or is tomorrow a good time? I love that. She did a great job.
Which day would be better?
Well, it's tomorrow and that's the early in the morning. Well, like, what time zone is he on?
Central.
That's okay. I'm on Mountain. I'm an hour behind you. I believe I have a conference call at 8. So, I mean, it has to be sometime in the morning, or Monday, it would have to be like 12 o'clock my time, which would be 1 o'clock your time.
Okay, so tomorrow, my earliest appointment would be 10 a.m. my time. So that's 10 a.m. Central, but 9 o'clock your time, correct?
Yeah.
Or I 11:30.
No. What about on Monday? Do you have a 1 o'clock your time?
I do have a 1 o'clock like I'm on Monday.
Let's see. Oh, not 9. Let's do 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Let's do that. And if that other call comes, I'm not sure exactly what time that call is being set up. It should be done before then. As soon as I find out if that doesn't work, I'll give you a call back and move to Monday.
Okay. And what is your email address so I can make sure we get a confirmation letter to you?
It's R-E.
Oh, I like to know that. Is there anything else I can help with?
Nope, I appreciate it.
No problem. And I have your phone number, 435.
So that's pretty much the end of the call. She just verifies this number and then they hang up. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm glad she did the call. She didn't do a bad job.
Yeah.
I would
No, not at all.
From what's the good and the bad again in summary for you?
I mean, she got exactly what you wanted out of it, and that's an appointment. She was able to verify the fact that he was actually interested in selling the property. He wasn't a tire kicker. And then she got the appointment. That's the whole point to all of it, is get an appointment so that you can get your eyes on the property. You can have the conversation with the seller. And in your case, you lock up a deal and you make $130,000. So that was a great call.
There could be an opportunity. I didn't need to know if there was a fence, a garage, or an HVAC. I would have liked to see her make the appointment sooner, although she did do that.
Yes.
And I would say the biggest area for improvement would have been show empathy when he was saying what his problem was. Take a moment, lift your head out of the script, and then talk about like, dang, that is like awful. I'm so sorry about that, but I'm going to do everything I can to help. And then I guess like a final like word of advice was, when you do genuinely feel empathy for somebody, you very much want to do anything possible to help them out. But whenever I was running my analysis of the deal, I just really genuinely didn't think paying $180 would be good for me. Now, it ended up being a smooth project, and at the end of the day, I ended up making $130,000, but it could have gone the other way too. You have to leave yourself 25% margin of safety, profit margin, right? Because, well, I did actually spend 6 months on this project, and I did use my own money, but if I was borrowing money, I mean, that would have just eaten the cost every single extra month that we took, right? So it took a long time. $130,000 seems a lot, but at the end of the day, I was, wholesaling to myself essentially. So you got to figure the wholesale fees in there, the margin of safety's in there, and then I didn't have any finance costs because I just used my own money at this point. So that is why you have to leave yourself. And I actually did want to share it with you guys, how to analyze a real estate deal. Let me check that up real quick. That's going to be episode 71, how to analyze a real estate deal. If you're curious what I did after this phone call and between then and making an actual offer. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next podcast episode. Thanks for your feedback, Ryan. I really enjoyed hearing that.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.